You have a $1,000,000 idea, but you can't get yourself to start the first task? Sound familiar? That feeling of being completely stuck while your biggest goals just drift away. That's the procrastination loop, and it defeats more dreams than any bad business plan. I've been there. I'm talking about staring at a blank page for a business plan, knowing exactly what I needed to do, but feeling physically unable to start. It's a paralyzing feeling that way too many of us entrepreneurs know. But what if I told you there's a simple 2-minute trick that can shatter this loop and get your biggest projects moving today? By the end of this video, you'll have a tool that makes starting so easy, you literally can't fail. This isn't just some motivational fluff. It's a strategic system that rewires how you approach work, and it's the closest thing to a silver bullet for procrastination I've ever found. Section 1. The Entrepreneur's Procrastination Paradox. Before we get to the fix, we have to understand what we're up against. For an entrepreneur, procrastination isn't just being unmotivated, it's a complicated and honestly a painful head game. On one side, you've got this massive ambition. You can see the finished product, the successful launch, the thriving company. But on the other side, the sheer size of that vision makes the first step feel like jumping off a cliff. Your greatest ambitions suddenly become the very source of your paralysis. The problem is a battle between two versions of you, your present self and your future self. Your present self is all about instant gratification. It wants to avoid discomfort, uncertainty, and hard work right now. It's the voice in your head that says, "I'll just check emails for a minute," or "I should probably do more research before I start." It feels productive, but let's be honest, it's just a fancy form of avoidance. Meanwhile, your future self is the one who has to clean up the mess. Present you gets that little dopamine hit of relief from dodging a hard task, while future you inherits all the stress, the looming deadlines, and the pressure of a project that's now even more urgent. Psychologists call this temporal discounting, which is a fancy way of saying we value today's comfort over tomorrow's success, treating our future self like some stranger who can handle it. So when you put off writing that investor pitch, present you avoids the fear of rejection, but future you is left scrambling the night before the meeting. Procrastination isn't a time management problem, it's an emotion management problem. You're not trying to manage your time, you're trying to manage the crummy feelings a task brings up. I remember trying to launch my first online course. The goal was huge: script and record 50 video lessons. For weeks, I did everything but that. I redesigned my website's logo, I reorganized my file folders, I told myself I was setting the foundation. In reality, my present self was terrified of that mountain of work and the idea that the course might stumble. My future self? Getting more and more stressed as the launch date I'd promised my small email list got closer and closer. This cycle of productive avoidance is where great ideas go to expire. Section 2. The solution, the 2-minute rule. So how do you break the cycle? How do you trick your brain into starting when it's so desperately seeking comfort? You make the first step so small, so laughably easy, that your brain has no reason to say no. This is where the principle that changed everything for me comes in, the 2-minute rule. Popularized by James Clear in his mega bestseller Atomic Habits, the rule is simple. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. That's it. That's the whole rule. Instead of trying to conquer the mountain, you just focus on taking one tiny 2-minute step. The point is to make starting your habits ridiculously easy. The actions that come later can be hard, but the first 2 minutes have to be simple. Let's reframe some classic entrepreneur goals with this rule. Instead of write a business plan, it becomes open a new document and write one sentence. Instead of build a new website, it becomes sketch the home page on a piece of paper. Instead of do my bookkeeping, it becomes log into my accounting software and categorize one single expense. Read 30 books this year becomes read 1 page. Run 3 miles becomes put on my running shoes. Anyone can open a document. Anyone can write one sentence. anyone can put on their shoes. There's almost zero friction. Your brain, which is always looking for the path of least resistance, sees a 2-minute task and just goes, all right, fine, I can do that. It doesn't trigger the fear and overwhelm that a goal like write a 5,000-word business plan does. Section 3. How it actually works. Gateway habits and momentum. You might be thinking, okay, this sounds like a cheap mental trick. I know the real goal isn't just to open a document. Why would my brain fall for that? It's not about tricking yourself. It's about understanding a basic law of physics, momentum. The 2-minute rule works by creating what James Clear calls a gateway habit, a tiny action that naturally leads you down a more productive path. The most important part of any new habit is just starting. A habit has to be established before it can be improved. But as entrepreneurs, we get obsessed with having the perfect plan, the flawless product, the ideal strategy right from the get-go. And that obsession with perfection stops us from doing the one thing that actually matters, showing up. The 2-minute rule is your permission slip to just show up, even if it's in a tiny way.
Because once you've started doing the right thing, it's so much easier to keep doing it. An object in motion stays in motion, right? The hardest part of a push-up is getting off the floor. The hardest part of writing is facing the blank page. The 2-minute rule gets you past that point of maximum friction. Think back to my online course nightmare. Record 50 videos was crushing me, but when I applied the 2-minute rule, my new goal became set up my camera and microphone. That's it. I could do that in under 2 minutes. But here's where the magic happened. Once the camera was on and the lights were set, my brain would think, well, everything's ready, I might as well record one quick intro. And after that intro, I'd think, that was easy, let me just knock out the first lesson. Before I knew it, I had recorded 5 videos in one sitting. That tiny 2-minute start created a snowball of real, meaningful progress. Section 4. Real-world examples for entrepreneurs. Let's get super practical. Here are 3 ways you can use the 2-minute rule on your biggest challenges, starting today.
Example 1. Conquering product development. Your goal is to outline your new software or service. The task feels huge and you don't know where to start. The procrastination loop. You burn days researching competitors and analyzing the market, but never actually write a single word about your own product. Your 2-minute rule. Open a new Google Doc. Title it Product Name /V1 Outline. Then write one sentence describing what it does. For example, a project management tool for small marketing agencies. Why it works? This one action shatters the blank page curse. It gives you a starting point. Once that sentence is on the page, it's a million times easier to start listing features or jotting down the problem it solves. You've created a bucket for your ideas, and your brain will feel a natural urge to start filling it. Example 2. Jump-starting sales and outreach. You need to find new clients, but the idea of sending cold emails or making calls fills you with dread. The procrastination loop. You spend hours tweaking your LinkedIn profile or perfecting your email signature instead of actually reaching out to a human being.
Your 2-minute rule. Open your email. Copy a pre-written template into a new message. Then just add one prospect's name to the greeting line. Hi, Jane. That's it. You don't even have to send it yet. Why it works? The hardest part of outreach is the emotional weight of starting. This tiny step gets you over that hurdle. Once that draft is sitting there with a person's name on it, the mental block to finish personalizing it and hitting send is so much lower. You've already done most of the emotional labor just by starting. Example 3. Building a content marketing machine. You know you need to create content, blog posts, videos, social media, but you never find the time or inspiration. The procrastination loop. You have a long list of content ideas that you never touch. You tell yourself you need a huge block of free time to write the perfect article. Your 2-minute rule. Open your Notes app, write a title for a potential post or video, Then write just 3 bullet points under it. For example, title, 3 mistakes new freelancers make. Bullets, not picking a niche, underpricing their services. Not using a contract. Why it works? This turns a vague idea into a real structure. A tiny outline gives your brain a skeleton to work with. The next time you have 15 minutes, you're not starting from scratch, you're just adding meat to the bones you've already laid down. Section 5. Advanced tactics to maximize the 2-minute rule. Once you get the hang of this, you can combine it with other techniques to make it even more powerful. First, pair it with time blocking. Schedule a 25-minute work sprint, a Pomodoro, for a big project. Your only goal for that block is to start with your 2-minute action. Use the rule to get the engine started and let the focused time block create the momentum. For instance, your calendar might have a 25-minute block for marketing. Your 2-minute start is to write 1 tweet. You'll be amazed how often you end up batching a week's worth of content in that one session. Second, supercharge it with environment design. Your goal is to make your 2-minute starting ritual so obvious and easy that it's harder to avoid it than to do it. If your goal is to write every morning, don't just open a document.
The night before, open the document and leave it on your screen. When you sit down with your coffee, the page is already there, waiting. If you want to make sales calls, leave your contact list and script open on your desktop. Remove every last piece of friction between you and that 2-minute start. Third, get specific with implementation intentions. This is a powerful concept where you link your 2-minute task to a specific time and place. The formula is, after current habit, I will 2-minute habit. For example, after I pour my first cup of coffee, I will open my business plan and write 1 sentence. Or, right after I hang up from my last meeting, I will send 1 follow-up email. This creates an automatic trigger that launches you into the task without needing a drop of willpower. Section 6. Common pitfalls and how to avoid them. As powerful as this rule is, there are a few common traps to watch out for. Pitfall number 1. Staying at 2 minutes forever. Some people use the rule as an excuse to do the bare minimum and still feel productive. The fix. Remember, the rule is a launch ramp, not the destination. It's about building consistency first.
After you've successfully started with your 2-minute action every day for a week, it's time to level up. You can gradually increase the time. Commit to 5 minutes, then 10. Let the habit of showing up become automatic before you start worrying about intensity. Pitfall number 2. The 2 minutes takes 10. Another classic mistake is thinking a task will take 2 minutes when it really involves logging into 3 systems and finding a specific file. This just leads to frustration. The fix? Be firm with your definition. Your 2-minute task must be something you can finish in under 220 seconds. It's open the app, not open the app, find the client, and update their record. If you're not sure, time yourself. Get a real sense of how long these tiny actions actually take. Pitfall number 3. Using it for the wrong things. The 2-minute rule is for overcoming procrastination on your most important work, not for getting better at busy work. Answering every email the second it arrives because it takes less than 2 minutes is a perfect recipe for a distracted, reactive day. The fix? Be intentional.
At the start of your day, figure out the 1 to 3 projects that will actually move your business forward. Apply the 2-minute rule to those tasks first during your best, most focused hours. Save the quick, reactive stuff for when your energy's lower in the afternoon. All right, here's your challenge. Don't just watch this and think, that's a good idea. Let's take action right now. Think of the single most important thing you've been putting off in your business. What's the one task that would make the biggest impact if you just made a little progress on it? Now, what's the 2-minute version of it? Is it opening that document, sending that 1 DM, drafting 1 slide? Whatever it is, as soon as this video is over, go and do just that. And when you've done it, come back here and leave a comment telling me what your 2-minute action was. I want to see a flood of comments from entrepreneurs who are finally breaking the loop and getting back in motion.
Most people never start because they're staring at the finish line, completely overwhelmed. They stumble at their biggest goals because they try to start too big. The 2-minute rule flips that on its head by forcing you to make the start so small you simply can't say no. This isn't about finding more willpower or magically becoming more disciplined. It's about building a smarter system for starting. It's about mastering the art of showing up, proving to yourself that you're someone who takes action and letting momentum do the heavy lifting. Your goals are too important to be stuck on the starting block. Stop waiting for motivation, make it easy to start, and the rest will follow.